as ever, let's have a look at the key quotes, what Arne Slot said in the press conference. So the first thing he was really asked about was Alisson Becker, and said what sets him aside from other goalkeepers. And with a wry smile, he said, saving shots. To become the best goalkeeper in the world, you have to make saves others wouldn't made. I think he had a few of them on Wednesday. He did also mention, as per the reporting, people are exaggerating, saying there was 27 shots. He didn't face that. He was clear, he said that specifically. He didn't face 27, I don't think. But it was a brilliant performance from Alisson. Sensational, wasn't it, really? I mean, said it on the pod yesterday with David Lynch, and I'm still even thinking right now, can you think of a better goalkeeping performance? I mean, this one, for me, far out trumps that Courtois one in the final against us that time. But you think also with the great performances from goalkeepers, maybe level in things like Alisson against Napoli. Do you remember that save from Milik, I think it was, late on? But just in terms of an individual performance, there are none better. And the thing I like about this, and this is really punctuated this season, at key times, the elite men have stepped forward time and time again. Salah, 99% of the season, he's been there, hasn't he, doing elite things. Same with Virgil van Dijk. Alisson, when the moment's needed in a huge game, elite players step up that way. So, yeah, it was good to see that he was getting a bit of focus in the press conference. Arne Slot was also asked about the PSG result, and, we're lucky in that regard. He said we were not a little bit lucky. We were very, very, very lucky. But as Michael Jordan once said, the harder you work, the bigger luck you have. It's that old famous Gary Player expression, isn't there? The more I practice, the luckier I get. And Liverpool, and he mentioned this as well in the press conference, they worked incredibly hard. And he mentioned, which is true, in the second half, we did control them better. I actually referenced that, the XG was a 0.44, wasn't it, in the second half? So there was a marked difference, especially with the substitutes. He called that out. And he also, which I like, expanded on this with the Real Madrid reference, that we've got a lot of discredit, or people attacking us a little bit. I'm sure you've seen things like the Dougie Critchley tweet about, Liverpool fans should be alarmed in that. As Arne Slot mentioned in this press conference, Real Madrid do this type of thing all the time. Yes, they can blow teams away at the Bernabeu like Liverpool can at Anfield, but sometimes they ride their luck. We've seen them well and truly on the ropes in certain games. We've put them on the ropes in certain games, but time and time Real Madrid come back, and it's almost praised as a quality, isn't it, how good they are? Not for us, though, for some reason. So there you go. But yeah, I like what he said there. Now, the Mo Salah conversation in this, and Arne Slot actually punctuated this at the start, saying, this is not a headline. I don't think Mo Salah was happy that I took him off, looking at his body language. He can always score a goal. That is why I rarely take him off. His behaviour was fine. He shook hands, but he probably felt if we get a chance, then he would score. Of course he did. It's Mo Salah. We know Mo Salah is on a different level to most players. In the Premier League, in the Champions League, we are talking the Ballon d'Or favourite. Let's be crystal clear on that. Our player of the season, and that's even despite Van Dijk being from another world. Salah's maybe from another planet completely. People just don't learn, do they? They really don't. The amount of people I've seen sort of ragging on him. Was he good in Paris? No. Were the team good in Paris? No. He wasn't alone in that. But just for some reason, maybe it is because the standards are so high for Mo Salah. You see people really ragging on it, don't you, and having a go. I tell you what, I might be wrong, but I hope Southampton feel a bit of a backlash with that. We will have to see. And Arne Slot did talk about Southampton. He set this stall out clearly, as he put here. He sees Southampton as the first of 3 cup finals. And he actually said, I'm hoping the whole stadium is completely full 30 minutes before kickoff. Let's hear them before the game with 3 finals ahead. There's nothing in Arne Slot's brain this is the easier one in between those two difficult legs. There's nothing on a Slot's brain like on anything else bar Southampton. There's no one picking my team with one eye on PSG, which I don't mind, to be honest, because the easy mantra in football, isn't it? Game at a time. And we've talked about that on this pod. That is when it always works best for us. Things that aren't maybe the best for us, Cody Gakpo is touch and go, it seems, for tomorrow. Arne did say it will be a close call. He didn't train yesterday. Now, he had come back and he obviously travelled to Paris for that game. However, it's worth pointing out, as Arne had said, he blocked a ball in training and that re-aggravated the injury. It doesn't seem to be much because it is a close call, as he's putting it. So if he's not fit for this one, he should be fit, you'd expect, for the second leg at Anfield. And again, you can't always take things for granted. But if you're being honest, if you were maybe thinking of a game to rest key players or not take any risks with key players, I think Gakpo missing Southampton isn't something we particularly worried about. Then again, throw your comments in the chat panel. You may see it completely differently from me. This is a great one because he got asked if Liverpool have been lucky this season. Said, if you think injuries are only luck or bad luck, then we've been lucky, but we've tried to prevent them from a certain way of working so that we didn't have many injuries. I don't see this as luck. Again, they just don't learn, do they? The amount of people say, Liverpool have had all the luck. And listen, you've had the rub of the green this season. You cannot pretend anything differently in many situations. And you're looking ahead to things like, touch wood, the Carabao Cup final, aren't you? Newcastle's recent injury run. However, Newcastle are a great example. Eddie Howe regularly has players injured. A whole bunch of players because of the way he clearly trains, plays, all those type of things. That's just a fact. Look at the facts. Players we probably like as well, potentially, as we know. But someone like Eddie Howe has regular players injured. Arne Slot's record last season at Feyenoord with Ruben Peters, it's important to say, is part of the reason. It's not the only thing, I appreciate, but it was part of the reason why he's been picked as well for that easier transition. And we're seeing the benefits of his, I don't know, call it ethos, training style, all those types of things, however you want to label it. So it isn't lucky, it's by design. Yeah, maybe if Legohead and his followers weren't so determined on that, just ignoring all the facts on this, they might listen to a few things, but there you go. DK, they're saying in the comments, I'm jumping to conclusions here, but not happy. Sign the contract or go. Gotta be honest, DK, don't think it's anything like that whatsoever. Which elite player is ever happy at being taken off? And probably as we were all cheering and going absolutely insane and laughing our heads off when Harvey Elliott buries that, let's be honest, there was a part of Mo Salah, because he is that elite player, happy for Harvey, because he's like a little brother to him, but also thinking, I'd have buried that. And of course he would. Of course he would. So no, Arne Slot was key to say in this press conference as well, don't read too much into this. This isn't a headline. Those were his words. Only other two to really mention, he was asked about the goalkeeping situation and with Mamardashvili coming, the competition, will it fuel Alisson, etc. He said, yeah, he already has good competition, though, from Queeve. You always know, at a club like Liverpool, you have competition in every position. You also have Yaros, who is an extremely talented goalkeeper. Alisson's the best in the world. Kelleher is in the top 5 or 6, I would say, goalkeepers in the Premier League. It astounds me he didn't get a move, especially when people were paying just shy of 30 million for players like Aaron Ramsdale. Absolutely astounds me. Yaros, we've only seen him at Palace, but he made a big save, didn't he? He looks quite calm and relaxed. He made a couple of big saves. Let me just be clear on this. So, yeah, and I think it is a great collection. David Lynch did say there is a bit of a question mark around Alisson this summer. He is 32. He will have 2 years left to go. Yes, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. Yes, we are desperate for him to stay, but those Saudi links are not going away. And if there is a chance of him departing, many other of the major players in Europe will be in the mix. But I struggle to see maybe one of those, but it wouldn't surprise me longer term if that comes up with Alisson. But that is a question for the summer. The only final question I really wanted to pick out from the press conference, it didn't surprise me that's too strong. It's a brilliant question by Mo Stewart, and as Mo always does, shout out to my Mojo, put stat in his question. So as he actually confirmed, he was asking about Slot's thoughts on rotation. Only us and Nottingham Forest, I think, are the only team that have rotated fewer times, who really don't rotate much. And we've spoken about it a lot this season. I can't remember the exact stat that Mo threw into. It was a good question. He posed it to Arne Slot. It didn't draw gasps in the press conference. That is too extreme. I'm not saying that. But you could tell there's a few journalists looking a bit surprised in there. He said, I see the advantage of playing mostly the same team, so they get to know each other in terms of how they play. In terms of rotating, I tend to do this with 14 or 15, not 20 or 25. That is an interesting one. And if you think of the Liverpool squad this season, most of us will know the strongest 11, but you've got the likes of Curtis Jones, I would probably say, makes the fourth midfielder. You've got the likes of Tsimikas, Gomez, the ones who could rotate in. So it is a sort of 14 or 15. The big question might be for a few of those players now, how do they see their future? I think we probably know the answer to some of those. But think as well about the likes of your Endos, your Elliots, your Chiesas even. They have got hardly any minimal minutes this season. I don't know if those players, if those agents listen to press conferences. We've no idea really. You know, only they'd be able to tell you. But if they have clocked that, and there is a decision for the likes of Harvey Elliott to make this summer or Chiesa to make this summer, as we know, that's not going to be one leaning towards the stay camp, is it? If you're honest, that's the manager, the head coach, saying out loud, clearly prefers to work with 14 and 15. And I get that. We've seen the evidence of that. It's taken Endo so long to start to earn any trust. And now he does come on for those sort of 15, 20 minutes, but it's taken practically all season to get there. Elliott, it felt more just to protect Mo Salah more than anything. And one thing that a few people have mentioned, which is right to call out as well, don't forget Mo's observing Ramadan, so that comes into the mix at the same time as well. I just wonder if you like some Chiesa are thinking and listening to that, and whether you think he was going to go anyway, but your Elliott, all those squad players on the outside who maybe sit 16th, 17th, 18th are thinking, nah, I'm not going to get my chances here. There's nothing that indicates that. So we'll see what they make of that. It will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. And Ballers FC, someone said this before. It's not a bad shout. What it means, to call 15 players you trust, and then the others have to earn his trust and prove they deserve to be in the first team. I had that chat with a pal this morning after this, but as I sort of retorted back with, well, they've got to earn his trust. They've had a whole season. Pretty much. We're in March. Let's be clear on that. He's seen them for a long time. As Arne Slot said, he's made the assessment on those players. And is there a real belief that maybe Elliott, Chiesa, for instance, are now going to make him trust them in a month or two? And I know the argument could be, well, look at Harvey's goal against PSG. It's possible, but I personally am just struggling to see it. So that was the only other one I really wanted to call out. That was Arne Slot's Q&A. If you think back to the other night, absolutely insane. I'm still laughing about this game. No two ways about it in the Parc des Princes. 1-0, smash and grab, as they all called it, wasn't it? It's just brilliant in so many ways. I mean, the clues we take from this is this team's got character, proper character. And the players who are 15th, 16th, 17th, etc. in those rankings make a big difference. Alisson's just elite. We've talked about him to death, and quite rightly, just insane how good Alisson was in this game. I still can't believe L'Équipe wouldn't award a 10 out of 10, but that's just L'Équipe, isn't it? When you look at the stats, I mean, we had less than 30% possession, yeah? We only won a third of the duels, or just under a third of the duels. They were beating us to everything. I think, as some people were saying at the time, they just look hungrier, more engaged than this. They ran us ragged at periods. We got a bit of I want to say a grip maybe in the second half, but they were on top for this game. And if you are deadly honest, if it was 2-0, say, at half time, you couldn't have complained. Alisson is the difference between the two. But the one thing it is, I think, important to call out from this game, all your second string, as in Harvey takes the credit. Darwin Núñez, the most composed man on the pitch. Most composed man on the pitch in that minute. Strange, isn't it, to say that, but very true. Endo, just the blunter, just cancels it all out. Yeah, it just so much to like about this game. And also, I've seen Luis Enrique saying we've proved we can do this, and you saw Luis Campos in the tunnel shouting at the referee like, get over it, mate. This is a whole different game at Anfield. Let's be crystal clear on this. The Parc des Princes is a fierce stadium. Their fans are passionate. That was their season. No two ways about it. But Anfield under the lights on Tuesday night, let's see if your boys carry that same swagger there. Completely different games.